Joining us now is the Congresswoman who represents Newtown. She's Elizabeth Esty, Democrat of Connecticut. Congresswoman Esty, thank you very much for being here. It's nice to have you here.
It's great to be here.
I know today that you were part of, or I know that you saw the bike riders leave on their Newtown journey to Washington, and then you were there today in Washington when they arrived. What do you see as the political impact, the political importance of that kind of personal commitment you're seeing by people who care about this issue?
Well, it's tremendous, and I think what you have mentioned is it is going to take the country being galvanized, and the courage that these folks are showing, that these parents who lost loved ones, who lost their friends and neighbors, are showing not anger, not retribution, but commitment for real common sense gun laws. And that is just what the country wants. You just said it, 91% of the public, which I wonder if that is related to the about 90% of the public who think the Congress is doing a lousy job. And it is time for us to step up.
When you look back at the kinds of events that have galvanized real change in this country, I was fascinated to look back and see how hard people tried to pass some sort of gun reform after the assassination of the president in 1963, when John F. Kennedy was killed by a gun that would have been illegal under his own gun control measure that was opposed by the NRA and did not pass in Congress. It was amazing to me that they were not able to get anything passed then. It took 5 years more and more assassinations until they were able to pass something in 1968 with a lot of Democrats in Congress. You look back at the history of these galvanizing events, do you see any rhyme or reason in when we get change and when we don't? Is there something magic that unlocks the possibility of change?
I think children do. I really think children do, and I think this is the sort of galvanizing event that we saw with the Birmingham bombings. Americans care deeply about their children. And when we see this massacre of the innocents that we saw on December 14th, when we saw it in this country with children at Sunday school being blown up in Birmingham while worshiping, that galvanized this country to take on real change. And I think we are at that moment right now. We adore our children, they are our future, and we need to do better. And this is our wake-up call. It must be our wake-up call.
You represent Newtown. This week marks 3 months since the attacks at Sandy Hook Elementary School. When you were elected to Congress, you cannot have known that this was going to be the defining, or at least dominating, event of your time in Congress and of this time in your state, and in some ways this time in the country. What do you feel like you need to do to be the most effective advocate that you can be for the people of your town, given this sort of singular position you've got as their representative after this tragedy?
Well, I respond as a mother of 3 children who cares passionately about our future and about every child in this country. And when I am thinking about what I need to do in Congress, I think about what I would want someone to do for me if I were in this horrific position of these parents who have suffered the most unimaginable loss. I've gotten to know these families very well, and every day they are in my thoughts and in my prayers, and every day I realize they're getting up much harder task of going forward with their day, caring for other children. And if they can do that, then I can get down on the floor of the House, I can go buttonhole senators, I can make phone calls and be a voice for them for, again, something common sense and simple. Common sense reforms that respect the Second Amendment and have our communities safer. It's just not that complicated.
Congresswoman Elizabeth Esty, Democrat of Connecticut, including Newtown, Connecticut in your district. Ma'am, thank you very much for your time tonight. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.